She has worked as a journalist for Singtown newspaper, the Vancouver Chinese newspaper, before developing a career as a freelance food journalist. Was a food columnist for CBC Radio 1, and she now writes for many magazines and newspapers and appears frequently on radio TV. I've had the pleasure to dine with Stephanie on numerous occasions. Please join me in welcoming Stephanie.
Thank you for Richard. This is a beautiful event, isn't it? Yes. Thank you. Well, Michael is busy saving the earth. The ocean. I am busy saving my tummy. That's what I've been doing the last 25 years. I actually am one of those very first Chinese food writer that pretend what I know and write about it. And after so many years, I end up knowing a little bit. And lucky for me, like Douglas McIntyre picked my name out of the hat for me, and then after 2 years, here's the book, East Meets West. I'm going to quickly tell you the subtitle because this is what the book is all about. It's traditional and contemporary Asian dishes from acclaimed Vancouver restaurants. Try to remember that because I'm going to give away a book. If you remember that. Well, first of all, Asian food. How many of you eat Asian all the time? Hands up.
Not all the time.
But you do eat. You do eat. Good. And how many of you cook?
Asian food.
Asian food. You have a wok at home? Rice cooker? Soy sauce in the pantry? Oyster sauce? You can cook with me. Well, it's really hard for me to try to capture what the theme should be for today. Food talk. Every day we work with food, we eat food, we need food. But being a Vancouverite, Vancouver is such a lovely multicultural city. And being Asian, being a food lover, we are in heaven. Aren't we? Well, you're not Asian, but hey. And I came in the late 70s, and back then, bak choy, in the shape of a celery. I don't know if any one of you been here since then? You remember what the bak choy, the giant bak choy looks like? Those are the cartoon characters. They're like giant, right? And that's what Asian greens were. We have to actually, back then, we use all the broccoli, the pea shoots more than, all these snow peas, carrots, whatever you order, whatever chop suey dish or vegetable dish or beef, chow mein, you see those. Oh, and onions, obviously, we have to work with onion. But today, when you walk into Chinatown, by the way, I actually do a Chinatown Manchu with Edible Canada. See, I try to give whatever perk I can. This is, hey, why I'm here for, right? And a lot of the vegetables are, well, some of them obviously are from out of Vancouver, outside of Canada because of the climate. But we have so many varieties of Asian ingredients that you can go Asian for the whole month without seeing a piece of steak, without seeing lamb chops or whatnot. Seafood, of course, we love it because Chinese restaurants, as a matter of fact, we are the first who put up fresh seafood tanks. When we say fresh, we mean swimming. And yes, Asians, we do try and get the most fresh items on the table. That is why Asian restaurants in Vancouver are so popular. We do have a lot of very cheap and cheerful restaurants, Asian restaurants in Vancouver. And obviously, Chinese restaurants are amongst the best. Because Condé Nast, a couple years back, actually wrote an article and told the world that Vancouver's Chinese restaurant, Chinese cuisine is the best in the world. Thanks to me, because I was the one who brought the guy. And I keep, hey, come on, we're the best, we're the best. Right? But no, I actually fed in with all the best Chinese food. But looking back 30 years ago, where bak choy is the only Asian greens that we could have. Today we have gai lan.
Yeah.
We have bitter melon. Are you Indian?
Yes.
You cook with those pointy.
I love it though. Very
Good, but they are very healthy for you.
They are.
Right? Yes. And we also have jicama. Jicama. Do anyone know what jicama is? You do? It actually looks like a giant, what is chestnut, but with brown skin, right? Okay, we have all kinds of Asian greens. But do you know that right over in Richmond and in Fraser Valley, a lot of the farmers are actually growing them? See, if you go to Blundell and number 5, there is, I remember the name of that winery because, of course, we all love wine. I think it's called the Sendu Winery. Next to it, there's a Filipino farm that grows Asian greens, all the gailan, all the peaches, and you know, all the lovely tiny little things that we put in our stir fries or in our noodle or in our soup, right? 30 years can be a long time. It can be a very short time. But the revolution and the evolution of Asian food, be it in the restaurant, be it in the market, we do have a lot of them. And this, I have to thank all the Vancouverites and all the immigrants coming from Southeast Asia, Hong Kong, China, Taiwan, because with the demand there, the farmers actually have to grow a lot of these things. And I don't know if any one of you have squabs. Squabs, you know what squabs are? Baby pigeons, right? And actually in Fraser Valley, a friend of mine actually has a squabs farm in Abbotsford. See, that is why it pays to actually go around and visit some of these local farms. You may get yourself some very good deal, you know, to go. And do you know that in Fraser Valley, we actually have free-range, well, we are the first to demand free-range chicken. Because when I first came here, you know, those chicken are not chicken, they are just something that looks like chicken, but it tastes bland, it tastes nothing, right? See, when Asians talk about poultry, everything is free range. We just love to walk, and we want our animals to do the same. And today in the Fraser Valley, you know, and even in Maple Ridge, you know, they have a lot of free range goat farms, and you know, like there is even a peasant farm over at somewhere in Fort Langley. Do you know that this is happening? All these are happening right in your neighborhood? Any one of you aware of that? No? Then you have to find out, because you should be feeling very lucky. Because we all know, I mean, like as important as Ocean Wise, all these organic, all these free range, you know, all these fresh Asian greens, they actually mean a lot. Not just to us, but to the farmers, to producers, to restaurants, and to our tummy, right? And do you know that compared to 30 years ago, there are possibly, I would say, 1,000% more Chinese or Asian restaurants in Vancouver? I'm sure, like if you walk maybe 10 blocks within your neighborhood, unless you live in the wood, you will see some kind of Chinese, Vietnamese, Thai, Japanese, right? Okay, how often do you pay them a visit and dine there? How often? All the time? Good. You actually try to talk to them, talk to the owners? Or the
ones you can, yeah, the ones in our neighborhood.
Good, how do you find them? You like it?
Yeah,
you know, are they friendly and everything?
It's nice to let them suggest stuff.
Good.
Yeah.
That's the way to go. See, I have to admit that because of the different culture, the different mentality, a lot of people may find going into an Asian restaurant a little bit intimidating, especially when you walk into a Chinese restaurant where everything is in Chinese. I mean, sometimes I have problem reading them because those Chinese characters are really awful to read, really awful to read. But if you understand that, you know, this is what they have been doing in their own country, and they are trying their very best to earn a living, and for $10 you actually do have a large plate, and a lot of times one meal equals to another meal of leftover, right? I'm not trying to push you guys to go and eat, but I'm just telling you that as a food lover in Vancouver, Asian food actually does a lot for the whole multicultural scene and also the food scene. And that is why I have enough information. Again, to come up with this book, which is available everywhere. I'm sorry, I'm just making this as a joke, right? But, of course, you're more than welcome to go and check it out.